Good morning. Give me just 1 minute. I need to check the tech. This is the first time I'm actually sharing slides. So give me a minute. Let me just check this. Thank you for joining, whoever's joining. Let's just check the tech. Just check this. Thank you for joining. Okay, we're on. Whoever's joining. Just check the tech. Okay, good morning. Today we are going to talk about pipeline. And just before we get into it, pipeline is something that, give me 1 second, this tech is not working properly. Whoever's joining. Great, I need to turn my phone off. Just check the tech. Okay, good morning. Today we are going to, here we go. Okay, so we're going to talk about pipeline today, and we are going to help you not just manage your pipeline, because a lot of times we end up with a pipeline that's out of control. We are not really attacking our pipeline the way we need to do to build results, right? And this is what we are going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how to attack and manage your pipeline and how to build results. So how to purge it, how to get more out of it, and how to revive some of those deals that we thought were dead, but they're really not. We can revive at least 20, 25, 30% of those. So I'm going to show you that by the end. If you don't know me, my name is Leah. I have been everything from a BDR, AE, founding AE. I've done it all, seen it all. I have closed everything from $3,000 deals to multi-million-dollar enterprise deals. And I help AEs do the same. They up-level their skills. They're able to close more faster with a higher ARR. The last few AEs that I coached have risen to the top 10% of their organizations, and one was brand new in his organization, and he ramped faster than anyone in his cohort. So if you want any more information about that, or you want to talk about coaching, DM me AE here on LinkedIn, or you can go to leahborgescoach.com/programs and just take a look around. Okay, so pipeline or pipe dreams. Let's talk about this for a minute. So before we get into it, who has seen the movie A Few Good Men, where Jack Nicholson says, you can't handle the truth? So we are going to really get into some truth today about our pipeline, the things that we need to face, the things that we're avoiding, and the things that we thought were dead that we can definitely fix. What we tend to do is we have this huge bloated pipeline and we're squeezing out a little bit of results, and it's not enough to either meet our quota. It's not enough for us to help our organization advance. We're not ramping as fast as we could, and we're not maximizing the money that we could make as AEs. And that also has a trickle down effect when we are talking to our buyers, right? Because our buyers are the ones that we really want to help, and they're the ones that help our business move forward and help us get to the goals that we have. So just understand before we get into this that this is going to be the whole unfettered truth about your pipeline, about what you're doing, what you're not doing, and we're going to help you move it forward. This is going to be really a no BS conversation about the pipeline. And there's a saying that before you get up on the outside, so before you see results on the outside, you have to fix your mindset on the inside, right? So we tend to think of our pipeline as this thing, and we're highly reactive to it. And it's just a thing, right? Because it sits in our CRM. It's not really doing much. Things come in, things go out, but we're not really attacking it, and we're not looking at it in the right way. So I want you to flip your mindset a little bit about your pipeline and how you look at it. Look at it as a living, breathing thing that we can affect and we can impose our will upon, right? This is how we need to look at it in order to be able to not just manage it, but get the most out of it and help our pipeline work for us versus us working for our pipeline, right? As an AE, I know that this is the case for a lot of you, right? You look at the pipeline, it's kind of like if it feels like a ghost town or it feels like things are not moving, it feels like it's kind of controlling us, and we are very reactive to it. So I want you to flip your mindset to your pipeline being this living, breathing thing that we can impose our will upon and that we can fix so that we reach our goals faster with less effort. That's what this is all about. Okay, so can you handle the truth? So let's get right into it. Okay, why isn't your pipeline converting? Pipeline isn't converting for a couple of reasons. And there's 3 types of pipeline, as you can see from this chart. This is going to be recorded, so don't worry about writing this down. There's 3 types of pipeline that hold us back. We have the fluff pipeline. I won't go through all of these, but I'll just hit on one. So we have the fluff pipeline, we have the stall pipeline, and we have a shallow pipeline, which is not enough deals coming in. And this is a problem that a lot of AEs are facing, a lot of organizations are facing. Now, when I coach AEs, and I've coached AEs from small startups to large enterprises, and I was talking to someone about this the other day, one of the guys that I was coaching, and it makes no difference. All organizations are suffering from the same things. I mean, there's degrees to it, right? But these are the main ones, and every AE is suffering, every organization is suffering from the same types of pipeline. So we have the fluff, we have the stall, and we have the shallow pipeline. Let's look at the fluff pipeline for a minute. So this is where we have a lot of deals. Our pipeline is bloated. Why it's going to fail is because your deals aren't properly qualified. Your buyers may or may not be serious, and or maybe we didn't uncover the information that we need to uncover to be able to move those deals forward. So it's not just that our buyers are, they're not serious. It's that we as AEs haven't done a good enough job at vetting it. We haven't asked the right questions and so forth and so on when we're doing discovery and in the qualification process, right? So how we're going to fix that is we're going to do ruthless qualification, right? We're going to stop chasing the maybes. We are going to qualify properly. And here's the 3 elements that go into, is this opportunity qualified or not? So write this down if you don't know this already. So number 1, do they have a core issue that we can fix? That's number 1. Number 2, are they willing to fix it, right? Do they want to fix it, right? Because a buyer can have a problem, but the will isn't there, right? They know it's going to take a lot of work. They know it's going to take some money, some effort, and they're just not willing to fix it. So it's a priority for them. And number 3, are they willing to go on the journey with us? Are they on the journey, right? So those 3 qualification questions, you always want to have these in your mind, not just at the beginning of the deal when they come into your pipe or when you're doing discovery, right? You're going to be asking this all throughout the deal cycle. And this is how you are going to determine if the deal is going somewhere or if it's likely to stall or just not happen, right? So those are the 3 qualification questions that we're going to ask throughout the deal process. So you can read through the rest of this. What the top 10% of AEs are doing, they are having fewer deals in the pipe, but they're having a higher close rate. And we'll go into that a little bit later. Every deal is qualified or progressing, or it's not in the pipeline, or it's in one of those earlier stages, one of those holding stages that I know you guys all have, and it's sitting there until such time that it is qualified. And they have discipline when they are targeting and doing the qualification and making sure proactively that all the deals are moving, right? So again, if we go back to what I said in the beginning, when you are managing your pipeline, please get this out of your brain. Get this management word out of your brain, because manage is so passive. What we want to do is we want to attack the pipeline. We want to attack the pipeline every time we have a deal come into the pipeline. We are going to ruthlessly qualify it and ruthlessly start moving those deals forward at every stage of the opportunity, right? I'm familiar with Salesforce. A lot of you guys may use HubSpot. It makes no difference. We are going to flip how we're thinking about our pipeline, and thus it is going to change how we view it and how we Manage it. I hate that word. But anyway, okay, let's go to the next. Here's the truth. Here's another truth. Can you handle the truth? Systems beat hustle. This is my pet peeve. This is my one thing that if I could change all the organizations and all the sales leaders and all the VPs and all the CEOs talking about hustle. Okay, there's a time and a place to do this, but we have got so much into the hustle mentality that we're doing all this freaking activity and it's leading to nothing. We have a bloated pipeline that's not going anywhere, or we're looking at all the deals in the pipe. The pipeline looks great. It's full, but it's full of garbage. And this is the number one reason, because we are prioritizing activity versus systems. And we are prioritizing doing the activities, putting things in and managing versus putting together a repeatable process or system that's going to allow you to have better, bigger results over time consistently. And that is the key. Systems beat hustle. And this is so true. I don't care if you try to argue with me about it. There's a time and a place to hustle. And I even hate that word because hustle leads to burnout. Okay, it's just BS. I'm just going to tell you it leads to burnout and it leads us down the wrong path. And when we're hustling, if you really think about it, let's really think about this word. We're hustling to fill our pipeline. To fill our pipeline, 90% of it is garbage, or 50, 60% of it is garbage. And what's that going to do for you? It's going to make more work for you later on down the line. And the pipeline is not going to be clean. It's not going to be real and true. And thus your forecast is going to be off. You might miss quota and you're going to have to do more work at the end. So systems beat hustle 7 days a week and twice on Sunday. You can quote me on that. And this is what we need to do. We need to have a repeatable system that allows us to get better results, bigger results over time. So we crush our quota every single time. So we're attacking the pipeline. This is the mentality that we have to get into. So the other part of this is that cleaning up your pipeline is the first step in winning, right? And I want you to think of it as a game. Like a lot of you are into sports. You cannot win if you're not playing offense, right? This is just a fact. It's just a reality. So this is how I want you to think of your pipeline in every opportunity. It's the field. It's the playing field. And you can't win the game if you're on the playing field being passive. So this is how we're going to think about our pipeline from now on, as the playing field. Every opportunity is the playing field, and we're attacking it every single time so we can win. So we're going to purge the dead weight, and we're only going to focus on real opportunities, okay? If this is hitting home with you, you can DM me AE here on LinkedIn, or go to leahborgescoach.com/programs and just check it out and get some more information. Okay. Here's another truth. Bloated pipeline is killing your quota. It's killing your progress. And not only is it doing that, when you have a bloated pipeline, you have a false sense of reality, right? So again, going back to the beginning, can you handle the truth? When you start doing this activity of purging and ruthlessly qualifying, it's going to get scary. I'm just warning you, because you're going to look at those opportunities in a whole new light. Okay, you are going to look at every opportunity. You're going to ask yourself, if this deal wasn't in the pipeline now, would I add it? Okay, so write that question down. This is one of the big things when you're doing this activity, and we're going to go through 3 steps that's going to help you make your pipeline real and true once and for all. We're going to stop putting garbage in there, right? So ask yourself, if this deal was not in the pipeline right now, would I add it? And here's another question. If this opportunity came to me and it's in my pipeline, would I bet my quota on it? Would I bet my commission check on it? Right? That's one thing that can keep yourself honest and keep your brain honest, because your brain is going to trick you when it sees all this stuff in the pipeline. Ooh, I have all this stuff in the pipeline. At some point, it's all going to convert. It's going to be great. And I'm going to blow my quota out of the water, right? Our brain has a way of latching on to things that it sees, whether it's true or not, right? If we're not keeping ourselves honest. So this is the 2 questions that you can ask. If it wasn't in the pipe, would you add it? Would you bet your commission check on this deal closing? Those are the two questions that you can ask to keep yourself honest. So we're talking about activity versus progress. They're not the same. And we have to make sure we're not just doing activity. We're not just hustling, right? We're not just grinding. I know you've heard that too before. I've heard it ad nauseum. But we're actually doing things that are going to push our pipeline to produce. This is the key. Okay. Excuse me. So here is step one when we're trying to keep our pipeline real and true. So we are removing the dead weight. That's step one. We're validating commitment. And then we're also validating the ICP and the decision maker. So what do I mean by point number 3? Is that we're going to look at every opportunity we have in our brain. We're going to look at it and see, is this a real decision maker, or am I just talking to a nice person? Are they an influencer? Are they a champion? I know you've heard the word champion, but champions are built and identified. They don't just happen. And a lot of times we think we are talking to a champion, but we haven't built the champion. We haven't given them the ammunition they need. And we're probably not talking to the person that's signing the check or the person that has real influence over the decision. So these are the 3 first steps that we need to do. So the first step is a 3-part pipeline and audit cleanup. Okay, so you're going to look at all your active deals and look for these things. It is going to take time. I'm not going to lie to you. But to have a pipeline that's real and true, that is going to produce better results with a higher ARR faster, this is what it takes. You don't want to be just looking at your pipeline and it's full of garbage, right? And sometimes we don't, it's not our fault, right? Sometimes we don't know that it's full of junk because nobody has ever taught us to do this, right? To do a pipeline audit cleanup and fix it to make it to where it is real, it is accurate, it is true. Is your pipeline legit? This is what this step is going to help you do. Okay. So that is the first step. Step number 2, we are going to find and fix, find and fix our pipeline dead zone. And what do I mean by a dead zone? So let me explain what your pipeline dead zone is. Every AE has a pipeline. At this point, I have reviewed so many pipelines, so many discovery calls, etc. Every AE in every single organization has a step in the pipeline where the deals go to die, where most of the deals either stall, drop off, or they just go away, right? So we want to identify what stage is the right word, sorry. What stage of your pipeline your deals go to die. This is what we want to identify, right? And to do that, we are going to do a 3-point deal check once we look at that stage in the pipeline and figure out which one it is. So what I want you to do is pull up your pipeline and look at it, or you may even have to pull a report to do this. Find out all the deals that are stalled, that are going nowhere, that you just ignored, and find out what stage that is. Because here's the reason why, this is why it's important, is because when AEs have a pipeline that's either bloated or there's not enough, that stall point, that one stage is the stage that we can affect the most, because most of the time we have not done something correctly, right? We have not qualified correctly. We miss stuff in the discovery call or something of the sort, right? So that is the stage that we can affect the most. It's not the beginning when it first comes in, right? It's the stuff that we're missing. It's the things that we think are dead or the stuff that we're ignoring, the deals, the opportunities that we're ignoring, okay? So to do that, we want to ask 3 questions. These are the 3 W questions. What, who, and why. So what we're going to do is, once we identify that stage, the dead zone in your pipeline, that one stage, we're going to pull all the deals out of it. And then we're going to look at the notes, and hopefully you have a great discovery process that is going to help you vet each opportunity, get all the information that you need, but that's another live. So we're going to ask, what's missing, what's missing, who's missing, why now? Okay, so let me repeat that again. What's missing, who's missing, and why now? Okay, so why speaks to urgency. Okay, so number 3. But let's go to number 1. Is there, so the what? Is there a clear core issue? Is it tied, listen to me, is it tied to revenue, cost, operations, or risk? Okay, not, they don't have my thing, so that's why their business isn't making progress. That's not a reason for them to buy your thing. And that's not a reason why this deal is stuck, because they haven't bought your stuff yet. Or why, they still have the problem, it still persists, because they don't have your stuff yet. That's not the reason. You need to tie the what back to revenue, cost, operations, or risk. Those are the 4 items that you're looking for in your notes when you're looking at the what. Okay, so who? Let's go to number 2. Who is missing? Are you talking to a real champion or just a nice contact that you made friends with, right? A lot of times, if we're selling a complex product or a highly technical product, what will happen is we are talking to the end user sometimes. And what happens when this happens and why these deals stall is because lots of times the end users are thinking inside their box. Okay, so they're thinking, how's this going to affect me? How hard is it going to be to use? How's it going to affect my team? Right? They're just looking, it's a very limited view sometimes, right? But if you're actually talking to a decision maker, a real champion, the person who can affect the decision, they're looking at the overall core issues of the business. They're looking at the business in a more holistic fashion. So when you are in discovery with them, you'll know this by the questions that you can ask and the answers that you get, right? So when you're looking at your dead zone in your pipeline, you're looking at that stage, you're looking for the who's missing. Do you have visibility to all of the stakeholders and what their priorities are? Okay. And number 3, we're looking for why. Why now? Why speaks to urgency. Okay. And we never want to manufacture urgency. So let's just keep this in mind. When we talk about urgency, we are talking about uncovering urgency, not making it fake. Sign this by the end of the quarter so I can get my quota met, and then we'll give you a discount. That's not urgency. We're looking for the cost of inaction. We're looking for the ROI, which is, I don't really like that part, but okay, some organizations use it. But we're looking for urgency. So if you're looking at your dead zone, you're looking at all the notes, do you have a why? Why should they buy now? Why now? And if you can't answer that question, that is the reason why it's in your dead zone. And you probably have more than one deal like that, right? So that's another thing. So also, when it comes to fixing the stall in this dead zone, we want to make sure that it's properly qualified. Again, we're going back to the beginning, right? So if it's sitting too long in one stage, we want to look at it, ask these 3 questions. If we haven't gotten the information, then we need to go back to our buyer and get that information and start working through the deal again. We might even have to move it back a stage, right? Because this happens a lot too. We're moving it forward prematurely, either because we have happy ears or we're smoking the hopium, or because our organization does not allow us to move deals and ops back a stage, which they really should, because if they don't, then the whole forecast is fake and all the numbers are fake, right? This is the consequence of it. And I've seen it more than one time. Okay, so we're going to fix the stall. We're going to look at the stall point, identify those deals, and start fixing it and start proactively attacking the pipeline. This is what we need to do to get the pipe moving forward so we can close more deals quicker and we don't have a bloated pipeline that's just like pie in the sky and nothing ever happens, right? So again, if this is hitting home with you, please DM me AE. I am also having a discovery call masterclass April 3rd, Thursday. So you want to attend that, I will drop that below when we're done here. Okay, so step number 3, we are going to reverse engineer our number and we're going to build a real pipeline. Okay, we are going to reverse engineer our number. Again, this is get out of the mindset of managing your pipeline, because that's so damn passive. It's too passive, and it's not going to allow you to do what you need to do. If you're trying to get in the top 10%, you're trying to hit President's Club, you're trying to hit Winner Circle, what have you, this passive managing the pipeline is garbage. It's not going to get you there. So let's do what's going to get you there. Okay. So we're going to reverse engineer our number. Once we clean up the pipeline, once we get all the garbage out, once we, make the stages proper, we move deals either back or forward, or we just close, lost them, we kill them all together. Once we've done that, then we need to reverse engineer our number, because now we have a clean pipeline. It's real and true, right? Hopefully. So now we need to assess where we are and how we are going to get to where we need to be. So what's the path that we need to get to crush our quota, to get to President's Club, to get to Winner Circle, to get our VP, our leadership to take notice that we are a force to be reckoned with inside the organization. This is what I want to help you guys get to. Okay, so we're reverse engineering number. We're building a real pipeline. We're not managing the pipeline. We're attacking the pipeline. Here's the formula. Okay, so you need to know your goal. What is the quota? You need to know your average deal size. If you don't know these two things right now, you should know these two things right now. If you don't, go to your CRM, pull a report, and figure it out. You should know all this by heart. What's your quota? What's your average deal size? I'm not talking about the average deal size for the org. I'm talking about yours. The deals you close, what's the average deal size? You, not the organization. We're going to do, number 2, we're going to do a win rate reality check. So a conversion reality check. What is it really doing? I'm not talking about guessing. I'm talking about absolutely knowing what your win rate percentage is. And there's a couple of different factors that go into this. I want to expand on this in a few minutes, and I'll show you exactly how to do it, how to come about this number to where it's real and true. And then there's a couple of things that go into this that I don't have time to go into today. But if you want to know, DM me AE or connect with me on LinkedIn. Okay. So the win rate reality check. If you are closing 20% of deals, then you need to 5x your pipeline. That needs to be your target whenever you're generating pipeline. If you're closing 20% of deals, you need to 5x your target in your pipeline. Okay. And I'll show you exactly in a few slides. I'll show you exactly how to do the math to come about this number, so you stop guessing and you stop worrying about hitting your number. Am I hitting? Am I not hitting? Why is it not adding up? You're going to know exactly. So I'll give you the math. Number 3, we're going to find the gap. Where do we have a shortfall? Once we do the math, where do we have a shortfall? And why? Are we chasing deals that are too small? Are we wasting time on low probability deals? And that goes back to having a clear and true, legit pipeline, not some cloud, not some fluffy clouds, not some pie in the sky. We're not smoking the hopium. We are finding out, are we wasting time? Where are we wasting time? What are we wasting time on? And where can we fix it? Okay. And then number 4, we're going to fix the gap. More real deals, not just deals, because if we have all these deals coming into the top of the funnel, and I know there's a lot of talk nowadays about top of funnel, but from what I've seen, like I'll look at my coaching clients' pipeline, they have all this stuff in the top of the funnel, but a lot of them are not even closable and they're not real. So when they hit the middle of the funnel, if they do, then they're coming up short on the back end. Right? So you can have all these, you can have 1,000 deals in the top of the funnel, but if you can't close them and if they're not real, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean jack. So we want to make sure that we are having real deals, whether that means our pipeline is a little bit smaller than we're used to. And again, it can be scary from what we're used to, but we just have, this is something we have to do, right? We have to do it to make sure that we are making the progress that we need to make and that we are going to hit our quota. And we're going to get people's attention that we need to get, right? And we're helping our buyers, right? The other part of this is we are never doing anything that is not in the best interest of our buyer, okay? So I want you to keep that in mind. Okay, so we're prioritizing buyers that have urgency. And again, we are calculating the COI and we're seeing if we have those 3 elements in place in order to determine this. Okay, so here's the win rate reality check. Can you handle the truth, right? Back to A Few Good Men. So do you have enough pipeline? And this is the moment of truth. This is what I call the come to Jesus moment for a lot of AEs, for a lot of sellers, for a lot of organizations. Do you have enough pipeline? 95% of the cases, the answer is no. I know this because I've reviewed a lot of pipeline. I've reviewed discovery calls, et cetera. And I know 95% of the time there's not enough pipeline. And we're not doing anything about it because, again, we're thinking about managing the pipeline and we're reactive to everything that comes in and everything that happens, every phone call that we get, email, Slack, et cetera. We're not attacking the pipeline. So the answer to this is no in a lot of cases, in most cases. These are the 3 steps you need to do in order to determine if you have enough pipeline or not. And I'm going to show you how to get there. So here is a pipeline math. Step 1, you're going to figure out what your win rate is. Okay. So here is the math, and this is no BS, right? This is it is what it is when you run the numbers. So you want to calculate your win rate. Here's the formula. All your closed won deals divided by the total number of qualified deals. This is why we have to do this when we've cleaned up the pipe, times 100. Example, if you close 10 deals out of 50 that are really qualified, 10 divided by 50 times 100 is a 20% win rate. Okay, so that's how you calculate your win rate. That's the first step. Step number 2, we're calculating our pipeline coverage. So to do that, the formula is 1 divided by your win rate. So in the example above, 1 divided by 0.20. Okay, that will give you, in this particular case, the math works out to 5x. Now, if you have a lower win rate, you see where this is going, right? So the lower your win rate, the lower your conversion rate, the more pipe you have to have in order to hit your goal or quota. Okay, so let's go to step number 3. Determine what your required pipeline is. Okay, so to do that, we're taking our quota times the pipeline coverage in step 2, and that's going to give us our required pipeline coverage number, what we have to have in generated pipeline. So in this example, if our quota is 1 million times 5, so 5x the pipeline coverage, you need 5 million in pipeline. I'm going to let that sink in because that number is often bigger than a lot of AEs, a lot of organizations, a lot of sellers realize, and they never thought about it in these terms. So this is something you need to be doing every quarter. And some of you that have very low pipeline coverage or you have a bloated pipeline, you need to do it every month. Because especially if you're full cycle, right? And even if you're not, even if you're working with a BDR, SDR, you need to strategize with them on how to bring more deals into the pipe. Qualified deals, how to qualify ruthlessly, right? So again, you see where this is headed, right? Step number 1 is super important. You need to know what your win rate is. If your pipeline is not real, it's not legit, you have fake numbers in there, then your win rate is going to be higher than it really is. And at the end, you're going to fall short. There's no doubt about it. So this is where we need to handle the truth, run these numbers, figure out where we're at, then we can figure out how to attack the pipeline and what to do about it. But if we don't understand what our pipeline looks like in this math, you're going to end up short every single time. And not only that, but in your mind, you're going to be like, okay, how come I didn't hit my quota this month? How come you're going to get to the end of the quarter and you're going to be doing the end of quarter scramble like a lot of AEs do, right? I used to do it too. Where you're like, oh, I thought I was going to hit. Now I'm going to try to do everything I can to pull deals into the current quarter, et cetera. Like your VP probably does this too, right? But if you do this on a regular basis, you clean up your pipeline, then you can start attacking the pipeline and do the things that you need to do in order to get the proper coverage so you're not scrambling at the end of the month. And we have to stop this reactive, this reactive activity, this reactive thinking. So we have to be proactive and we have to attack the pipeline. So this is the pipeline math. It is real. It is true. The numbers don't lie. Take your emotions out of it. The numbers don't lie. It might be scary for some of you when you start getting real and running your numbers and determining exactly where you are, because you might have to do a little bit more work. But the upside is that it's directed activity, right? It's activity with a purpose. And you know, at the end, you're going to go somewhere, you're going to be able to blow out your number, you're going to hit your quota or crush your quota, and you're going to be able to relax at the end of the quarter. It's not going to be all this scramble business, because we know exactly where we are at any point in time. So if you have not done this, do this. And if you are short on pipeline, then you need to be doing this every single month. But first and foremost, get real about your win rate and make sure your win rate is true and legit. Because if it's not, it's only going to hurt you in the end, right? So that's that part of it. Okay. This is the part that is near and dear to my heart. I want you as AEs, we need to go on offense with the pipeline. Okay. And again, if this is hitting home for you and you want to work with me, please DM me here on LinkedIn, AE, or you can go to leahborges.coach/programs. Take a look at that. I'm also hosting a discovery call masterclass on April 3rd. I will schedule that and I will drop it below this course. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going on offense again, right? And we should be on offense every single time throughout our day. This is going to, it's not going to make you tired, but it's going to give you energy, and you're going to know that your efforts are not wasted. So we want to own our data, and I'll tell you what this means in a minute, number one, and we want to own our wins. To do that, we are going to stop relying on the organization CRM. Let me say that again. To own your data and own your wins, you are going to stop relying on your organization CRM for two reasons. This is what happens. Either they're calculating different things. What the win rate that they're calculating is off. I've seen this so many times where the win rate is inflated for different reasons, how they're calculating the close rate, et cetera, leads coming in. And it's just, or they don't even have the capability of doing it, and they're just not doing it, right? So those are the two reasons that we want to own our own data and own our wins, and we want to do off CRM tracking. So now that you know the right way to attack your pipeline and proactively manage it, I hate that word, but proactively manage it to where it's working for you and you're not working for it, you need to own your data and own your wins and track off the CRM. So let's see how that works. So we are going to, So here's what we're going to do. We are going to build our own Google or Excel spreadsheet. This is what we're doing. Okay, that's step one. You're going to build your own spreadsheet where you have your opportunities, all of your opportunities, the date that were created, the date they were close won or close lost, the ARR, and who your champion is, okay? You're going to build this spreadsheet yourself. Yes, it's going to take some time, but it's going to be very, very beneficial to you in the end. There's two reasons why we want to also track our own numbers for ourselves. Three reasons. Number one, when A's track their wins, when you track your own wins, you're not relying on your manager to come tell you, hey, good job, you won today, or your win rate is up by 5% or it's down by 3%, right? So you're not being blindsided when things happen. Number two, by doing this, you'll be able to see who bought the most with the least amount of resistance. So you'll be able to validate and verify your ICP. You'll be able to understand if you lost, why you lost, the information that you are prone to not getting, and so many other factors. So those are the two reasons, and I'm going to give you a bonus reason. Bonus reason number three is if something should happen, meaning there's a RIF, there's a layoff, you get a PIP, right? And this is, again, being real and honest, then you have your data for yourself. right? That you can use to validate your contribution and how good you are in your organization, right? You'll know exactly what your win rate is. You'll know exactly how much ARR you brought to the organization. You'll have it for yourself. Yes, it takes time, but it will be beneficial to you. So what normally tends to happen is an AE will get a layoff. They're locked out of their systems at that point. You'll get a RIF, same thing. You're locked out of your system, okay? Or something else happens. All of that data is residing in your company CRM that you now have zero access to. So now you have to go in your brain and try to remember all of these deals that you close, figure out your win rate. You have to figure out what exactly you contributed to the organization, and it may not be real and true, and it's just an exercise that we don't need to have to do. And I know this because I've done it. And I've seen other people do it. And whenever I'm coaching an AE, I always ask them first couple of days, are you tracking off the CRM? Do you have your own Excel sheet? No. Make one. And I'm always like, I become a bulldog about this stuff because it's so important. Like, you need to have this information for yourself. It does one of two things. No one else owns your wins. You own your wins. But you can only do that if you have the data for yourself on your own spreadsheet, so that if and when something should happen, you have the data, you know exactly what you did. Like, nobody can second guess that. And or if you're going to be pipped and you have the talk, you can have that information. You go into that meeting armed with exactly what you're doing, right? And I had this incident happen with a coach, someone, excuse me, an AE that I was coaching, where they were called in to have the talk, and they had their data and everything. And that gives you a lot of mental energy, and it also builds your confidence that you are doing exactly what you need to do. And the picture is not exactly what they said it is, right? So you can challenge some of the things that you're talking about or that you're being told, but only if you have the data and you're prepared at a moment's notice to pull that spreadsheet down and present it and start having a conversation. Okay. So this is really important. It's near and dear to my heart because I see so many sellers not do this. Okay. So again, Discovery Call Masterclass, April 3rd. I will drop the link below. DM me AE if you're interested in working with me, or go to leaborgescoach.com/programs and check it out. All right. So to wrap it up, 4 steps. We're going to audit the pipeline. We're going to find the dead weight and drop it. I don't care what it feels like. It's going to feel crappy because you're purging and the numbers are not as great as you thought they were, right? Or you're going to get it moving again, or you're going to move it back a stage or do whatever it is you have to do. And again, if you don't have all this information on your own spreadsheet, stop what you're doing today and build that spreadsheet and start transferring that information, okay? Number 2, you're going to find the stall point in your pipeline. Find and identify the stage where your deals die, and you're going to fix it. So you're going to pull all the deals in that stage. You're going to look and see what information is missing. Excuse me, the 3 whys. Whatever information is missing, you got to go back and fix it. If you need to go back to your buyer, then you're going to fall on your sword and you're going to say, hey, I was just thinking about our conversation. I missed XYZ information. Are you open to have another conversation? Or if you have good rapport with that buyer, you're going to email them. You're going to say, hey, think about our conversation. I missed X. Do you mind sending me this information? 1, 2, 3, right? And when you do that, they're going to respond. You're going to get a response, and it's going to help you move forward. Okay. Number 3, run your numbers today. Clean up your pipeline. Step 1, run your numbers. Know exactly what you need to do, what you need to fix, where you need to go, and know what your quota is, and know that pipeline math. Like, it is so important. Either run it on a monthly basis or on a quarterly basis. Okay. And then number 4, own your close rate, own your wins, own your data, track your number. Do not just rely on what the CRM says, because remember, it's not always accurate. The lead to close, opportunity to close, demo to close, those numbers are all different. You want to know for sure what your win rate is, because if your win rate is off, again, if we're going back to the pipeline math, if your win rate is off, then everything is going to be off. And you might not have the proper pipeline coverage, which 95% of the time that's the case. It's not we have too much, it's that we don't have enough. So now we want to be able to impact that, right? And it's all about going on offense with the pipeline and our work, right? So we're not just being passive and reactive. We're not just managing the pipeline. We're attacking the pipeline. We're squeezing the most out of it. We're killing the deals that are going nowhere, that absolutely weren't qualified, or we are going back and we are going to qualify it properly. We're moving it back a stage, which of course is going to affect the forecast, but it is what it is. Again, can you handle the truth? Are you going to do what is going to get you the results? And these are the steps that is going to help you get the results. Okay, so we have gone through a lot. The recording is going to be up on either YouTube, or it's going to be definitely be up on LinkedIn. So if this resonated with you, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. You can DM me the word AE, or you can message me, email me at salesdoneright50@gmail.com. And I will look at the chat and see. Ooh, somebody said, dang, they just got here. Am I too late? Thank you very much. Going on offense with the pipeline. Most definitely. So this is one thing that's near and dear to my heart. So let me just go back. Okay. This is where I see a lot of A's fall down, and this is what I have done myself. I've been laid off before. And because I wasn't doing this, now I have to go back in my brain and try to remember all the deals that I closed for how much and why. So when it happened to me, what I knew absolutely, right? The high impact deals, right? So like the big enterprise deals, like the $1 million deal, right? That I closed with a CPG company, the $500,000 deal that I closed with the media company. I just remember those because those are the biggest ones. And I was a founding AE. So I was responsible for those numbers, but you need to go on offense with your pipeline. Own your data, own your wins, track all this off the CRM, right? Because these are the things that nobody will tell you. So in the interest of transparency, I'm very, very passionate about this subject because I've been in AE for over 10 years and I know what we struggle with, right? And I know that the pipeline is a big one. Like, for example, I worked in an organization, a startup, the pipeline was a hot mess. It was ridiculous. It was terrible. The data was all over the place. We didn't have structured fields in the CRM and the notes, and that's another thing. If your organization does not provide you with a structure for your notes to where you can just look at your notes and figure out what's missing, I can help you with that because I did it myself, right? And this is going to make it easier for you to identify the stall point. Remember, we talked about that stage where your deals are hanging, they're dying, or you're just ignoring them because you feel like, oh, there's no reason I can close this anyway. And I have to focus on what's on my plate right now, right? But that is completely reactive. That is not what we call going on offense. It isn't. So if you need to have a structured way when you're in discovery to where you can transfer all your notes to, so you're getting the exact same information all the time. So it makes it easier for you when you're in the pipeline and you're looking at the stage, you got the stall point, you can just look at it. Oh, why should they buy? I have no idea. Did I get the COI? No. Maybe I need to get the information that I need to get the COI. And then I can have a intelligent conversation, business conversation about with this buyer about their particular problem so we can identify it and quantify it, right? So a lot of times organizations are not providing a structure, right? They don't provide a structure. And if they do, it's all product focused and product related. It's garbage. We need to focus on how we can best help our buyer. We need to focus on finding core issues and how to solve them and what is that issue causing within the organization. So these are all things like they tie together, right? We can't just separate them. So when you're in discovery, That's going to affect what your pipeline looks like. That's going to affect whether you hit your quota or not. That's going to affect whether you hit President's Club or Winner Circle or whatever it is. And if you're in a smaller organization, you don't have those things, it doesn't matter. You can still win like a President's Club winner, right? You can still win that way, but you have to be able to do your qualification, do your discovery, attack the pipeline on offense all the time. It's not just a passive thing, right? And then we need to figure out what we can fix. And in those ways, that's how it all works together. And that's how we get to the top 10% of sellers in our organizations. It's not by sitting back and letting things happen, right? And I know a lot of times this is not a conscious decision that we just sit back and let things happen. But it's a mindset of we're managing the pipeline because we've heard it so much. Remember, if you hear a lie enough times, it will become true. So then we automatically do it, right? Stop managing your pipeline. Start attacking the pipeline every single month, every single quarter. And this is how they all work together. So again, the Discovery Call Masterclass is April 3rd. You can register for that. I'll drop the link below. You can DM me AE on LinkedIn or connect with me if we're not connected and we can have a conversation. Also, LeiaBorges.com, LeiaBorgesCoach.com/programs. It'll give you an overview of the things that I help AEs with. But a lot of what I do is helping AEs, again, crush quota, go on offense, get to President's Club, Winner Circle, get to the top 10% of their organizations. That is my goal for you. But also a lot of it is the mindset stuff, right? Because if you don't have the right mindset, you're not going to do the right things, right? And Desmond said he lost so much closing and customer data. Absolutely, because no one's ever told you these things, right? But because I've been in the seat and I've been there, done that, I'm going to tell you the stuff that nobody will tell you. I'm going to tell you the things you need to do that nobody will tell you that you need to do. Why? Because your organization is focused on you closing as much business as possible and as fast as possible, which is not always equal doing the right things, right? To fix your mindset, but also fix your pipeline and also doing what's in the best interest of the buyer. That's another part of this, right? And that's a whole nother conversation. But so these are the things that I help AEs with. This is how I helped my coaching client last month ramp the fastest and get to the top 10% of his organization. If you want that for yourself, DM me and let's have a conversation or connect with me. So let me see what questions that we have. We have any questions? Do you have any questions? Someone I'm not connected with message me, but you can connect with me on LinkedIn. Let me see what else here. Sorry. Yes, definitely go on offense with the pipeline. That is so important. You know, that is one of the things that I will help you with if you want to work with me, is getting out of this passive mindset, right? And understanding, yes, we have a goal, we can get there, but only if we do the right things. And there's very few people that are going to get real with you about what that really entails and what you really need to do, right? So we are in March, so we're at the end of Q1. Now's the perfect time to start doing this. So clean up your pipeline, run your pipeline math, right? And then determine if you have the proper pipeline coverage, and then go on offense with your pipeline all the time. I don't want to see you guys being passive, like, oh my God, I got 10 deals in, I don't know what to do next. No, prioritize and attack. Prioritize and attack, right? That's how you're going to win. That is how you're going to crush your quota. And that is how you're going to get to top 10% President's Club, Winner Circle, whatever the case may be. Okay. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I feel like I was rambling a little bit, but this is a topic, like, it's not the sexiest topic, so I tried to make it sexy. But this is the meat of what really needs to happen, right? Aside from your discovery call, which is a whole nother topic in and of itself, the pipeline is your business. And remember, you are not just a seller. You're a business person helping other business people make their business better. So make that mindset shift too. You're not just trying to meet your quota. You're not just trying to get a higher ARR. You're trying to help your buyer make their business better. And you're the business person that's going to be able to do that. But you have to make that flip in your mind, in your mindset. Okay. So hopefully this has helped you guys. Again, reach out to me. You can DM me on LinkedIn. If we're not connected, connect with me. And the Discovery Call Masterclass is April 3rd. That's going to be a private Zoom. So you'll need to register for that. And also you can check out leahborgescoach.com/programs. It'll give you an overall idea of how I work with AEs and how I help get them to the top 10% of their organization. So thank you so much for coming. Hope to see you on the next one. Let me know if this resonated with you, if you want more information. Have a great day. Bye, guys.